Okay, if I could have your attention, it's 5:30, so we're going to call the meeting to order. And the first item up is Pledge of Allegiance by Michael.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And tonight, our mission statement will be read by Carolyn Walker.
Beaufort County Schools will provide quality educational programs and services to ensure student academic and vocational success.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment? Anyone sign up? Okay, if not, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. And I think everybody has logged in. After we did make a couple of changes, but you should be good. Anything else need to be added or not? Do we need to have five? Well, if you do not show your first action item as Washington High School wrestling match, you need to F5 your computer. I got it. Got that?
You should be okay.
You're good. Approved, Mr. Chairman. Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed to this agenda? Okay, we're good. And that takes us into approval of the minutes. And I believe if you open that up, you'll see, is it two sets? Yes, our October 4th and closed session closed, October 4th. And hopefully by then you've had time to look over those.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any questions?
I'm going to recuse myself
Okay.
because I was absent.
I'll also do the same.
Got you. Okay, you got that, Lisa? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to those? Okay, thank you. And that takes us to public recognition. And tonight, Ms. Spencer will be assisted by Ms. ECP. And find your name there, ECP.
It's all right.
Good evening. The character trait that was recognized in our schools for the month of October was courage. And our awards that were sponsored this month, our awards for character education were sponsored this month by Cinema 7 of Washington. So we certainly want to thank them for their willingness to be a sponsor of good character in Beaufort County Schools. The nominees at the elementary level were from Bath Elementary, Emma Boyd, from Chocowinity Middle, Hardy Corey, from Chocowinity Primary, Parker Boyd, from Eastern Elementary, Nicholas Martinez, from John Cotton Taylor, Bayro Teles Palacios, from John Small, Giselle Mendez Jimenez, from Northeast Elementary, Dylan Watson, and from S.W. Snowden, Amir Smith. And the winner at the elementary level was Emma Boyd from Bath Elementary, if she will come forward. Right here. And Emma is a fourth grader at Bath Elementary. Her parents are Jenna and Jamie Boyd, if they will stand. And when she was presented by her teacher, Ms. Kimberly Bissett, if she will stand, if she is present. And Ms. Bissett wrote, during this past summer, Emma was faced with one of the most challenging tasks her mother has ever asked her to do. She was playing outside with one of her younger brothers on the swing set. While she was on the top platform, her brother Topper told her that he felt that he was going to fall. Emma tried to rush down and help catch her brother before he hit the ground. He fell and hit his head on the ground. Emma realized Topper was unable to hold his head up and confused. Emma was scared and unsure what to do, but she ran inside to tell her mother. Her mother rushed outside and scooped Topper up. Emma said, Mama screamed at the top of her lungs to call 911. Her voice shrieked. Emma said, I picked up the phone and dialed 911, and when the dispatcher answered, she handed the phone to her mother. Topper was picked up by EMS and rushed to the Vidant Beaufort, where he was then transferred to Vidant Medical Center in Greenville. Emma showed such courage by first trying to help her brother before he fell to prevent his injury. Secondly, she ran inside to get help from an adult because she knew something wasn't right after her brother fell. Although she was nervous to call 911, she had the courage to dial the number and waited for an answer to help her mom and her brother. Her courage and quick reactions enabled her brother to get the help he needed quickly. We'll say congratulations to Emma.
That's a ticket for you. And a goodie. Okay. I'm going to keep this until you go around.
Great job, Aaron.
Congratulations.
At the middle school level, the nominees were from Bath Elementary, Callista Latham; from Chalkawinity Middle, Roman Butler; from Northeast Elementary, Natalia Roma Espinosa; from P.S. Jones, Jameek Beatty; and from S.W. Snowden, Stephen White. And the winner at the middle school level was Jameek Beatty from P.S. Jones. Am I saying your name right? Okay. All right. Jameek is an 8th grader at P.S. Jones Middle School. His mother is Miss Montressa Beatty, and he's accompanied this afternoon by his grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Beatty, if they will stand. And he was presented by his teacher, Miss Bauman. If she's here, she will stand. Okay? And Miss Bauman wrote, "With courage you will dare to take risk, have the strength to be compassionate, and the wisdom to be humble. Courage is the foundation of integrity." Keisha Van Nair summed up a good definition of courage. "I would like to nominate J.J. Beatty for the character education trait Courage for the month of September. From the moment I met J.J. at open house, I was blown away by his maturity, presentation, and manners. Unfortunately, J.J. was hit hard during a football game and incurred a concussion. He had to go see a specialist. Long story short, I and his classmates were worried about him. When J.J. returned, we were very happy to see him. Although he is still recovering and it may take time, his attitude has not wavered. I talked with him and asked him if he would want to play football again. His response was, "I just want to finish what I started." I was blown away by his answer and his character. I think it is courageous that he is even considering playing football again. I also think he is courageous for returning to school, working diligently, and not getting discouraged. Never once has he complained or used his accident as a crutch or an excuse to bail out on work. I think JJ is one courageous young man. Way to go, Miss Bauman. I say congratulations.
Short dress man.
Make us look bad.
We're so proud of you.
At the high school level, the nominees were from Northside High School, Justin Bell; from Washington High School, Kalia White; and from Southside High School, Sarah Selby. And the winner was from Washington High School, Kalia White, if she will come forward. Kalia is a 9th grader at Washington High School. Her mother is Miss Lakeisha Peartree, and she will stand. And she was presented by the assistant principal, Mrs. Horton. And she wrote, "Ms. White has demonstrated the highest degree of courage by accepting the challenge of becoming a cadet in the JROTC program at Washington High School. When Mrs. White was born, she had her left leg amputated. She has stepped up and with some limitations has excelled where other cadets have not in drill and ceremonies and physical training. She does not allow her disability to get in the way of being the best that she can be. Her winning attitude and drive are far beyond her peers, and she sets the example that all others should emulate." We say congratulations to Kalia.
Congratulations.
That's a good work there.
Good luck.
All three winners are coming up. If I get a picture now. Congratulations.
that it? No more recognition? Well, that completes the recognition portion, and now we'll be moving into the business portion. But before we do, if you came just for recognition, and I'm sure a lot of you did, we'll pause for just a minute or two to let you leave, or if you want to stay, you're welcome. It only gets more interesting. This is usually when everybody just leaves. I'm going to start playing. Charge. So, what was that to lead over?
I think it's a granddaughter.
Granddaughter. Yeah, do you have the original calling up here? Right, I mean, you got that anyway.
Snowden, Chuck, Wendy, sales staff, Washington, but I'll call them.
Well, as usual, they left us. And that takes us, as I said, into our no action portion discussion. And tonight we're going to have a presentation from 4 of our schools. And I think Don knows who's coming first, second, and third.
What I've asked our principals at our schools that are designated as low performing to do is to do a brief presentation tonight for the board and for the public. And what I wanted them to let you know was what got them into the status that we have right now, what we're going to do to get out of that, and then also some highlights that may not show up on the report card that I want you and the public to be aware of. And we're going to start with S.W. Snowden. Ms. Tahani, if you would come up.
Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet with you this evening and talk to you a little bit about our school. Have the opportunity to talk with you a little bit about our plan of action for this next school year. The song that you heard, and we'll play it a little bit more towards the end, this summer we were very fortunate to have a ECU intern with our students in our sound studio, and our students wrote that song, they produced it, and it was a wonderful experience for them, but they did that in our own sound studio. This summer was a very busy summer for our school. We started out with NASA STEM training with a majority of our staff. After that, they came back to school and many of them volunteered to do retesting with some of our students. And then right after that, we went right into developing our new mission and vision statement. And this gave us the opportunity to really look at ourselves and ask us who we are to our community, and where we see our students in the future. Our mission for this coming year, after reflecting on where our students are, where they need to be, is that SW Snowden is committed to a child-focused environment by educating lifelong learners through relationships, community, and career exploration. Our vision, SW Snowden, is an environment defined by career college ready, critically thinking, collaborative, productive citizens that create partnerships between school and community. The next part of our mission development is we looked at our last couple of years of data, and I've just given you a snapshot of the last 3 years. And you can see in 2013, our math proficiency, reading, science, and our growth score was well below our county average and state average. We did meet growth that year. The next year, 2014-15, math proficiency remained about the same. Reading went up slightly. Science dipped down. We still met growth. Our growth score was 70, and our school performance 38. And this next year, as many of you know, we went without a math teacher in our middle school for several years, and there was some difficulties with math, consistency in instruction throughout from K through 8th grade. This year, this past year, 2015-16, our math proficiency was still low at 22. Our reading, though, we're very pleased, went up from 37 to 34. 37 to 44, thank you. Our science went from 29 to 76, and we accredit many of the quite a bit of the STEM work that we did and the hands-on science activities. Our gross score went from 70 to 81.3, and our overall school performance was 47. And I did purposely put down the grade range and the letter grades there because we did go up a letter grade this school year, and as we really looked at our data and looked at where our kids are, how much we really realistically think that they can grow for next year, we kind of looked at that scale. And our goal is to go up yet another letter grade. And here are our specific goals. By June 2017, we would like at least 50% of our students be proficient in math as measured by North Carolina standardized assessments. By June of 2017, at least 60% of our students will be proficient in reading as measured by our North Carolina standardized assessments. And by June of 2017, at least 86% of our students will be proficient in science as measured by North Carolina standardized assessments. Because our community involvement is so important in lifting up our school, and we did a lot of work with that last year, is involving the community, really going to them and finding out what their vision was for our students. Our community involvement goal is by June 2017, we'll have at least 75% of parents and guardians involved in activities and academics of their students as measured by sign-ins, contact logs, and other documentation. One of the things we're looking at is different levels of involvement, and we've created a database of parents that are involved, what they're able to do when they're available. So that's going to help us connect more with our community and get them more involved. I'd like to share with you some talking points, and these are some things that don't show up in the data, but things that we are very proud of that our school, community, and our staff accomplished over this last year. We had significant increases in reading and science EOG performance, as you saw this last school year. We have a highly qualified teaching staff, and many of those were hand-selected over the summer the previous year, and they are still with us this school year. 21st Century Grants supported after-school program in grades K through 8 with snacks, transportation, field trips provided free of charge. We have a full preschool program, weekly character education for elementary grades, and career development lessons for middle school students. We have a full functioning music recording studio, and you heard the result of that. Homework help from certified tutors during our after-school program. We have a free breakfast and lunch for all students. This year we have a robotics team led by Julie Cleary. Student Government Association was established last year. We have a strong school partnership with NASA STEM educators. STEM Expo nights are planned each grading period this school year, as a way of integrating the math, science, and the other softer skills that we want our kids to develop. We had a Battle of the Books team last year that were elementary winners for 2015-16. We have a summer program for students in July with meals, transportation provided, middle school sports. We have begun an annual 5K color run, which the community is involved in, and this will be in the spring of this year. Academic partnership with Aurora Fossil Museum, and you'll be hearing soon about some of our plans for this summer as part of a grant. WSWS Student TV Broadcasting Team. We have an active Bright Futures Council, and this last year they really helped us recruit volunteers, tutors, Coats for Cash. They helped us with teacher appreciation and a tremendous amount of support for our student needs in the community. We have a very active PTO, business partnership with Aurora Potash, Aurora Fossil Museum, and the local library. And you can see right there two of our teachers. Last year, Aurora Potash gave all of our students and teachers winter coats and backpacks. We have excellent community support and involvement. We use ECU instructional interns in our classrooms, consistent use of data to drive teaching and student learning through our PLCs every week, academic and social support for students at risk, school-wide behavior goals and expectations. And that was one thing that was really strongly implemented this year was through PBIS, multi-tiers, a support system is school-wide expectations throughout the school, and that is going very smoothly. And this is just a snapshot of some of the things that we did this year and last year. We have our students actually in the process of creating the song that you heard. Some of our students were featured in Our State magazine for a photo shoot when they were at the Fossil Museum, and some of our other programs that our students are involved in. And I'd like at this time to answer any questions you may have. And again, if you have specifics about data, that will all be included in our action plan that will be presented later on. I know that sometimes too much data is overwhelming, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions, Mr. Haynes? Any comments?
Great job. Keep doing what you're doing. I just feel very confident that your numbers are going to continue to go up.
Well, we've enjoyed our time at Snowden, that's for sure.
And I can just say, you know, visiting your school, Don actually gets a kick out of this, I think, when I tell him, I think I saw something, I'm not sure what it was I saw, and he always thinks that's funny for some reason. But it is. But when I walk through your school, and because I think everybody knows, but for those that don't, Mr. Haney's a new principal for us here, but it's just a different feeling. I can just tell there's a different atmosphere and just a different attitude in the whole school. It's kind of hard to put my finger on it, but I know there's something
Thank
different.
you, Mr. Williams. I appreciate it. And I know that Mr. Williams is very anxious to hear about some of our special STEM nights and other activities. We'll be sure to send you an updated calendar on a regular basis. We want to point out we had a color run. You'll see ECP kind of front and center participate. I think we had Andrea and Ashley also came out, and some other kids from PS Jones. So it was a good time.
Just
Looking
keep up
forward
the
to
good
doing it
work.
again.
Absolutely. It's,
Thank you so
I think we're on the
much.
right track.
And thank you for your support.
Thanks for all you do.
Ms. Gibbs, Chuck Winnie Middle.
And this is Nancy Moore,
Oh,
assistant principal, and she was there to keep me straight. And thank goodness because she got me a couple of
We all need somebody.
Teamwork.
Good evening, Ms. Gibbs.
Everyone. There's a reason why I asked to go first behind Mr. Haney, but I got it in order, so I'm coming second, so I'll do the best I can. Good evening. My name is Kimberly Gibbs. I am the principal at Chalkawinnie Middle School, and this is Ms. Williams. She's the new assistant principal. When we look at who makes up Chalkawinnie Middle School and we look at our demographics, we have 390 students, and when we break them down by grade level, we have 93 fifth grade students, 107 sixth grade students, 99 seventh grade students, and 91 eighth grade students. When we break the students down by race, we have 203 white students, 54 Hispanics, 110 black, 21 multi, and 2 Asian. When we look at our free and reduced lunch rate, we have 65% of our students that receive free or reduced lunch. 60% receive free and 5% receive reduced. Our challenge, our concerns this year, of course, our top challenge is that we are now a low-performing school. We did not meet growth, and we did not meet proficiency. We did drop a letter grade overall as a school score. We definitely need to improve across grade levels, certain grade levels, and subject areas. Our focus this year has to be instruction, and we're not just talking about the faculty and staff. We're talking about everybody, faculty and staff, students, and parents. Everyone has to be on board. We have to have an instructional focus. Another concern is parent involvement. It is challenging to keep parents engaged at the middle school level. And it's not that they're not concerned, they're very concerned, but just keeping them engaged and involved with their child's education and progress at Chalkawinnie Middle School. We're always looking for ways to do this. Now, we do have a growth plan to hopefully move us to low performer, and this is our growth plan. First, we're starting to do is analyze and use data. And of course, the EVOS data is the data that the teachers get based on how they did on the end of grade test scores. Of course, we have test scores. And then we have informal and formal assessment, our benchmark assessments, which are tests that are given every 9 weeks. So we're going to look at that data, look at how they do, and let that drive our instruction. So that's our main focus. and we have already started doing this. Let me go back. This growth plan, we talked about this, and these are things that we've already discussed and doing. This came out in a faculty meeting, so this was agreed upon by the faculty and staff. We definitely need to increase literacy school-wide, and this is how we want to do this. With 5th grade, we have a new incentive called the Walk-in Classroom, and it focuses on student health, building literacy skills, and core content knowledge. And what it entails, our 5th grade students have what we call an MP3 player, and on that MP3 player, there are podcasts, there are lessons, and they're aligned with the Common Core. So these are things that they've already learned to review. And they also do this when they're taking a brisk walk, so it incorporates literacy as well as the health. That's the exercise component. For our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we've implemented DEAR, which is drop everything and read. So 3 times a week for 20 minutes, all of our 5th, 6th, 7th grade students and the teachers are reading. So hopefully this will increase our reading and overall reading comprehension skills. We're consistently implementing our positive behavior intervention and support, PBIS, school-wide. Last year we rebooted it. This year we're actually implementing it. What we did over the summer, our PBIS team met. We implemented our school rules and our school consequences, and this is school-wide, so everybody be consistent when it comes to behavior, because behavior is very important. Our 5th grade math teachers are working closely with district coaches to implement the new math curriculum, Engage New York, so they're working very closely, and they will be taking a tour to a school in November to see how this is implemented, so they're going to get the hands-on experience. Next, we're working with teams across grade levels to improve the quality of instruction using best practices that have been proven to help student growth. And this is the administrative team. We have teachers that do very well in certain subject areas, so we're asking them to go in and basically mentor, observe, and then let those teachers come and observe them. So that's what I mean by best practices. Now, even though we're a low-performing school, we do have some academic achievements. We have some things that are really good at Chocowinity Middle School, and I think it's important to highlight that. When it came to reading in a grade, our 6th grade students did make growth. When it came to the math, our 6th and 8th grade students made growth, and our 7th grade students exceeded growth. We have our EOC scores for Math 1, that's our 8th grade students, they exceeded growth. So again, I think it's important to highlight that we are doing some great things at Chocowinity Middle School, even though we're low performing. When we look at our non-academic achievements, the first thing is teacher retention. This year we retained 95% of our faculty and staff, and last year we had to hire 11 new teachers, and that's a lot for a small school, so I think that says a lot that we were able to retain 95% of our faculty and staff. Our staff morale and school climate has shown improvement. Last year that was a concern. This year it showed improvement. Based on our teacher working condition survey, 94% of the faculty and staff really feels that Chocowinity Middle School is a great place to work. And that comes from the faculty and staff, so that's a great thing. We do still have our character education program where each month there's a breakfast for nominated students and parents. What we do, each faculty member nominates a student for the character trait for the month. We invite that parent along with the student for a breakfast. The administrative team reads the nominations, and then we give the students like a goodie bag or gift. This year we had the Post Center visit. This happened on September the 30th. It's an organization that encourages students to make choices that increase positive, healthy behaviors. We had speakers that come in to talk with our students. For our 8th grade students, the topic was decisions, making good decisions. For our 5th, 6th, and 7th grade students, we talked about bullying and anti-bullying. So they came and did sessions. This year, which is new, we kind of started last year, we have a chess club, and that's something totally new. But we have a social studies teacher that actually wanted to do that, and so we have actually students that's learning how to play chess. And last year, I think we had about 35, and it's already started. So that's something totally new, and the students are enjoying that. Our cheerleaders were named Cheer and Dance National Champions for 2016. Our 7th grade Youth STEM Career Day is sponsored by Beaufort County Police Activities League, and we will be having that in December. Our 5th and 8th grade students will tour BCCC in the spring. Last year we just had 8th graders. This year we're having 5th and 8th just to see the great things at Beaufort Community College. And we do have strong involvement and support for community organizations, business, and local churches. They really do support us with monetary donations and just items that we need for the teachers as well as the students. Also, additional initiative or programs, and some of these things we've already implemented. We do have what we call a tutor enrichment Excel period at the end of the day that works on tutoring for reading and math. Again, we have our PBIS program. Yesterday, we started the Cornerstone After School program that works with select students to help with academic achievement, and they mainly focus on reading and math. Parent-teacher organization, and this is something that, again, we're rebooting. We just have not had an involvement, just not that they didn't want to, but just that support. But this year, we have a new PTO president. We actually have committee members. We had a meeting, and they're not just helping us with fundraisers. They're trying to get things going where we can do activities where we can get parents involved, so that's something new. Select members of the Junior Beta Club, which is our Junior Honor Society, attended a summer leadership institute at Pfeiffer University this summer, and they have to do a service learning project, and they're going to do a canned food drive to support the local food banks. We have the implementation of virtual job shadowing program, and this helps with the grad program. What this is part of the grad program, students are asked to shadow jobs. Well, we know we don't have enough jobs for the students to shadow everyone. So what we have is an online program where students can go in and actually look for jobs, actually look for interest. So this is a way we can fulfill the grad project. We have a faculty staff student mentoring program, and what happens, every teacher, including our support staff, picks a student or two that we do mentor. We work with them academically and behaviorally, and I have one, Ms. Williams, so we really try to focus on certain students that need that support. Backpack Pals is what we did last year. We partnered with Bright Futures and a local church that provide meals for students over the weekend and holidays. And last, we do have the Pamlico Pals program that again started yesterday, and it's a mentoring program that works with at-risk youth that focus on character education and character traits. Thank you. Any questions?
Any comments or questions?
I have a question. What, and you may not know the answer, I'm just curious, what do you think your average class size is for your core classes?
For, I want to say about 23. This depends on what grade level. Some are about 23 now. Some of our sixth grade, they're sitting about 24, 25. It just depends on the grade level. Fifth grade, we're a little bit smaller because we do have 5 teachers there. So, and some of them are smaller.
How does your student enrollment look compared to last year?
Last year at this time, when I did the presentation in October, it was 410 or 412. This year's 390. So that's gone down a little bit.
Well, it sounds like you've got a lot going on.
We do have a lot going on, and it is a great school. We have a lot going on. Faculty and staff is very supportive. I do feel a lot more confident this year because last year I started July 20th, so it makes a big difference when you're there the whole year. And so I can see a lot of things and focus on a lot more things, but it is a great school, and I'm glad to be there.
It certainly is.
And we appreciate it. I was actually going to mention that another relatively new principal, so I want everybody to understand that.
Right.
And I also want you to know that I've heard a lot of positive comments over the summer.
Good.
There were numbers of parents that had 4th graders ready to enter your school that had contacted me about various things, and and I tried to reassure everybody. And I know we're early in the year still, but the same folks have come back to me and said they've had a wonderful experience.
And we have an open
I know
door
you work
policy.
hard.
Yes, we do. We have an open door policy, and I encourage all the parents to just come and talk to me, And I think it's been very good this year, so that's a good thing.
And we're also glad to have Ms. Williams join us on the south side of the river.
That's right.
Any other comments?
Keep up the good work.
If not, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Gibbs.
Southside High School, Mr. Johnson, Ms. Windley.
Good evening. Good evening. And thank y'all for having us. We are here to present some fantastic things about Southside High School. Even the not so fantastic stuff is still fantastic because there's a plan in place, okay? I am going to start with the first 3 slides, and then Mr. Johnson is going to come from behind me and tell you all about fantastic stuff. Starting with, okay, you want to, oh, you want me? You see, okay. All right, so we're going to start with our demographics. Okay. This slide is basically showing our grade level breakdown, the number of students in each grade level. The total comes out to be about 450. Now, that it becomes very important when you then look and see that our free and reduced is 67%. So if you're taking 67% of about 450, you're looking at over 300 kids. That's part of our demographics, our free and reduced. And then when we look at our race breakdown, we have about 46% white and 38% black. We have 11% Hispanic, then we have some multiracial and very little Asian, but that's going to be our racial breakdown there. Move to the next slide. When we look at our data review, we were down in every area except the ACT. We were actually up. Our percentage was about 6.5 higher than last year. And our 4-year graduation rate was also higher than the district. So those are two positives there, that we have a plan to bring up some of the other falls that we had in some of the other areas that Mr. Johnson is going to tell you about. Okay. Now, moving to what we feel after looking at the data, some of the contributing factors. Starting at the very top, we noticed that there was a 2-year trend of our incoming freshmen having some literacy needs. The tutoring that we offer during advisory in our homeroom period is more or less voluntarily. The students can somewhat volunteer to go and on their own and see a teacher about a subject that they are not doing too well in. Our ACT prep was also on a voluntary system. Then moving to our teacher turnover rate. It's been the highest it has been. It was up to 24%. When you break that down and start looking at 17% of our teachers then had 0 to 3 years experience, and 33% had 4 to 10 years. Basically, half our staff had 10 years or fewer as far as experience, so a young staff. And then, of course, decreased funding. So all of these factors had a contributing part to where we ended up as far as low performing. So now Mr. Johnson is going to tell you how we're going to fix it.
My name's Clint Johnson. I'm the interim principal at Southside, and I'd just like to say thank you. It's been great. I appreciate the opportunity to be there. So, gosh, it's a wonderful place.
Thank you for helping us.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I guess you could say that out of adversity comes opportunity, and I think that's where we are. We have a wonderful, supportive staff, and they're really their first priority are the kids at Southside. They don't like it a bit where we are with our position as a low-performing school. I think they like it the worst that we don't feel like we're doing what we need to do for the kids. So, you know, it's not a bad thing sometimes to have some adversity, because I think we're more motivated. So, looking at our plans for improvement, the first thing that we saw when we were looking at data and our situation was that we do have some literacy needs of our kids. And so we made it the school goal for all the PDPs for our teachers that students will read, write, think, and talk in every class every day. So this is not just an English class. This is a health class, or it's a social studies class or science class. And so we're going to be working on the literacy piece with that, but it's not only the literacy piece that comes across when you include read, write, think, talk. It's the engagement that students get when they're required to do that, when the teachers plan for reading, writing, thinking, and talking. We're also going to, we hadn't had PLCs for a couple of years at Southside, and I think that's probably been a real factor in our in our inability to make our goals.
Can you explain what that is, just for an acronym?
Yeah, professional learning communities where teachers get together and they look at data, and they also plan together. So we, in the school improvement team, have decided that we're going to start the subject area PLCs twice a month in the afternoons, and then we're also going to have cross-curricular PLCs during planning periods once a month. The cross-curricular planning PLCs will be looking at the literacy piece more than the other PLCs. So the math PLCs that we're having after school, they're going to be looking at where we are with math, and they're really going to be concentrating on Math 1 in those meetings. We want to emphasize formative assessment in every class every day. And when we're looking at formative assessment, we have a benchmark test that we give, but we really don't think that's good enough. Formative assessment should be in every math class every day. The teachers ought to find out during the class where the kids are, and they need to find out early enough so that they can have some kind of reaction to get these kids caught up during the class period. So that's going to be an emphasis for us. The tutoring that we've been doing during advisory has been voluntary. We're going to go to some mandatory. In other words, if the kid is doing poorly in a class, then it's going to be mandatory that they get back to the class and get tutoring during the advisory. And we're also looking at making advisory 4 of the days. We have it 5 days a week now. One of the days we have some lessons that are designed by our counselors. We want to keep those. But 4 of the days we're looking at going to more of a flex period where we have we would go to first period during that advisory, and the first period teachers would give support for those kids, and they would be working with small groups instead of the whole class. And we think that might be more efficient than what we're doing now. We really, I don't think, have been doing a good job preparing our kids to take the ACT. And so we're getting the whole school up, every grade level, in taking the work keys for ACT, and it's going to be on the computer, and it'll be during the homeroom or advisory period. And then we're going to get an ACT word for the day and try to work on that. And every teacher will be going over that word for the day in the class. We have an instructional coach at Southside, a teacher there, and we're going to try to utilize her more than we have in the past. And she's going to be a part of every faculty meeting and giving some PD in every faculty meeting. We do have some challenges. Again, the literacy needs of our kids continue to grow, but it causes every teacher to include literacy strategies in every lesson every day. So that's a good thing. That's a challenge, but it's bringing about some good things. Our advisory period is a work in progress. Like we said, we don't have it perfected yet, and we're working on it. And what may come out of that may become a flex period, and that may be a lot better than what we're doing now anyway. We also have a significant number of students who need extra help in multiple subjects. And so we're part of the 21st century application, grant application for next year, but that would only come online during next school year. So we're really in need of some funding for transportation and other things for an after-school program to get kids coming after school. Our kids are not able to get there after school because they live a long way away. We have country kids. They're great kids because they're country kids, but transportation needs are there. Positives, we have a lot of positives at Southside High School. I mean, you guys need to come and walk down the halls with me. You need to be there to change your class. Wonderful kids. They bought into a family atmosphere, and where every student, I think, supports each other. The teachers support the kids. The kids support the teachers. And so it's a great atmosphere. We have a caring staff that gives our students the help, emotional support, and the leadership really necessary for them to progress. we're really close to having one Chromebook, one-on-one school for every student, so that's a good thing. And we're using those Chromebooks really in every class, and we're supporting the literacy goals with the Chromebooks. I think we have a great central services team that comes out and helps us. And Andrea and her team is going to come out and do some examples of PLCs with us on November 7th. And, that's the examples of an example of what we get from central services. They're great. We're proud that we have five new first-year teachers there. And Mark, the two English teachers, are doing great. I know you had some concerns last time you came. One of them is not quite as fragile as you was when you came. And so we've been giving these five first-year teachers a lot of support, and it seems to be working very well. And our school improvement team is made up of really dedicated, caring individuals who they recognize that having student success is the main reason that they exist as a school improvement team. So that's where we are at Southside. We're not happy, and that's a good thing though. We're not happy that we're where we are, and we're not satisfied, and we have a hunger, and I have all kinds of confidence that we're going to dig out of it. So thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing. And I think I've mentioned twice new principals with this one, so he's interim. So seems to be a theme here, and I think there's a fourth one coming.
Mr. Swenson from Washington High School.
Good evening. Good evening. Washington High School. I am Michael Swenson. I am a new principal out of Washington High School. We've got assistant principals that are solid in place. Ms. Wendy Dixon, Patricia Horton, and Brandon Howard. Sorry. Got it. Thank you. Our demographics, 1,034 students at this time. 9th grade 320, 10th grade 270, 11th 232, 12th 212. You can see the percentages off to the side. Our racial breakdown, and I put it in percentages down at the bottom. The white 42%, black 39%, Hispanic 16%, multi 3%, and all other less than 1%. Free and reduced lunch 62%, and we have currently 7 national board certified teachers. Our indicators. There are 2 arrows indicating the areas that we actually raised our scores in. Math course rigor went up from 93 point something to 95. We went from 49 to 53 in ACT proficiency. All the others we did not rise in, and we actually dropped in. So we're looking at ACT work keys 57, 4-year graduation rate 81%, English 2 proficiency 40, Math 1 proficiency 29, and biology 37. We are a D school this time. We did not meet growth. And I apologize for the typo, we did not meet growth. Some of the notes that I took away from the data, not just from the descriptive stuff, but if you really break it down, our achievement was down 5 points, growth was down 2 points, school performance down 5 certainly. But when you look at it, and I'm not trying to single out math over any other, but when you look at our Math 1 scores, we had 56% of students scored in level 1. And the state average is 25%. So we're over double in Math 1 scoring in level 1. So definitely some room to grow in all the areas for EOCs, but in Math 1 in particular. The only EOC course that we had to score level 5 is biology. So these are areas that these are certainly key areas that we're looking at. We want to get our scores. We're not shooting for the stars. We want everybody in a 5, but we certainly want to push that growth up and get some of these Math 1s out of level 1 along with the rest, get them back on state average. What we're doing at Washington High School and what we've started since day 1, classroom walkthrough schedules, and we have a clear rubric of what we're looking for in there. This classroom walkthrough is not willy-nilly. When we walk in every week, we know as the administration team what 10 teachers we're looking at, what 10 teachers' classrooms we're visiting for that week. The goal, when we talk about it, is the average of 2. So we want to get into 2 teachers' classrooms a day on average. And as administrators know, it's not always possible. Some days you have things come up, so the next day you might get 3 in, or the next day you might get 4 in. But but you want to try to average 2 a day. And the reason we want to do that is because the emphasis of this is not just the walkthrough, face-to-face and two-way discussions with the teachers. So when we go into the classroom and fill out our little rubric and we collect our data, that's all in well. We want to go back and have a conversation with those teachers. And the things that we're emphasizing in these walkthroughs, and I'll come back to the face-to-face, is higher order thinking, bell-to-bell instruction, student engagement, and of course data. When you look at higher order thinking skills, when you walk into a classroom, you can annotate the questions that are being asked in most high schools across the state, just generalizing. And you'll see a lot of low-level Bloom's taxonomy questions, just the ones that come right off the top. It takes a lot of planning to put into place those higher-level questions that really challenge students to critically think. And so, to go back to the face-to-face discussions, and the reason I think this is important is because we've got a lot of good teachers at Washington High School. The teachers are doing a very good job in the classroom. The data doesn't necessarily pinpoint that. I think if anybody looked at this, it's a D school, but there's some very good teachers. So the thought is that we want to tweak instruction. We've got good teachers, but we want to look back at the curriculum. We want to look back at the types of questions that you're using for the students and the engagement that you're using. So if I walk into a classroom and all I hear is level 1 questions, I go back to the teacher and talk to him. I say, you did a good job with this, you did this, here's some items. But a lot of the things that I heard were level 1 questions. What's your plan for improving that? Because in Bloom's taxonomy, certainly you want some level 1 questions, but you don't want that across the board all semester. So the hope is the teachers will start to think about this and start to say, you know what, I didn't have any today, but next time you come, this is my plan. Or maybe they've got it in place and they say next Wednesday is where I really am going to have a creative activity where we're doing some engaging hands-on work in groups. Same thing with student engagement. When you walk into a classroom, you'll see 2 or 3 students that are very eager to share everything they know, whether it's on point or not on point. And so we're already talking, and we've already had a faculty meeting where we talked about collaborative pairs with students and how easy it is to engage students on just a 1-2 pair. You 2 pair can talk about what we were just discussing or talk about that set of problems we just did, and you have a certain question set aside for that. So student engagement, bell-to-bell instruction, higher order thinking questions, and of course data. Teach the written curriculum. You know, a lot of times we get in there as teachers and we think, you know, I know exactly what the students need. And you probably do, but they really need to learn the curriculum that you're supposed to be teaching them. And so we want to get teachers back on path to pushing everything back to that written curriculum that we have in place already. If you don't mind going into the data. Some of the data that we've already collected from our walkthroughs, bell-to-bell instruction, for the most part, 80% of the time we're seeing bell-to-bell instruction. So we feel like bell-to-bell instruction is certainly not at the top of our list, but something we want to improve somewhat. Teacher circulates classroom 60% of the time. Student engagement, the top 3 categories in our data analysis show that listening, skill practice, and taking notes are the main 3 things that students are doing in the classroom. So these are mainly teacher-centered kind of ideas. So what we want to do is we want to push the teachers to do more hands-on, more student-centered kind of ideas, discussions, having them do some more literacy, some writing and things like that within groups and even independently, but just to get away from just sitting there passively listening and doing skill practice and taking notes. Certainly has its place in the classroom, but it should not, I don't think, be the top of the list. Also, students work independently. Majority of the time, we'd like to see more collaboration and discussion. The big one on this slide is the majority of our students, and on our rubric, we actually have where we're pinpointing what level of Bloom's that the classroom appears to be at based on the questions. The majority of our classrooms are engaging at the remember and understand level, which are the lower 2 out of the bunch, and they're never really reaching into the 4. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not getting the top ones. It just means the majority of the time that's what we're seeing. And that's the discussions that we want to have with teachers. How do we get the teachers to get past the remember and understand and push up into the next level for the students to be able to critically think and not just know and memorize the information, but to be able to synthesize it and use it to problem solve later on. One thing I will note, and again, I mentioned Washington High School is a very good group of teachers. They overwhelmingly provide support during questioning. So even though they're asking level 1 questions, and even though the students are struggling with some of those, and even though they're certainly needed, they're providing support during questioning. So, you know, some good things in place. I really think just need to tweak it. Okay, on professional learning communities, PLCs that were mentioned before, we're looking right now, we're working with PS Jones and in our city schools kind of groups that we're talking about is how we can put together some vertical links to the middle school. We've got a math issue. We've got 56% of those students scoring in level 1. That's not all on Washington High School teachers. That starts from a very low age up. So we're all on the same team. How do we work with the middle school to help these students as they're coming up? So we've started in November, after we've had a chance to kind of assimilate this benchmark data. We've got, our math team is going to go down to PS Jones. I don't remember the date off the top of, but they're going to go down there and meet with their math team and talk about some things that we need in place as a math team from the students. And here's some things that we're doing, and we're hoping that the middle school will also let us know, here's some things that we're doing, and here's some things that we're able to provide you. I'm sorry, I've got the clicker. A few other side initiatives at Washington High School. Master scheduling focus for next year's master schedule. Firm believer that the master schedule kind of drives a lot of the stuff at the high school. If the master schedule is faulty, then you run into a whole lot of issues that you could have taken care of earlier. So items such as no EOC's fourth period or minimize EOC's fourth period, expand the AP program, have some real conversations about how we can improve AP scores throughout the year. It's not all about just Math 1, English 2, and biology. It's about all the other good courses that we're offering, including AP. Maintain cap sizes. So, it's a tough thing to do. You say you want to cap size, and then you get an influx of 60 more students. Where are you going to put them? And they need these courses. And so, but what we want to do is just like with the discussion with the teachers, we're all on the same team. If we have a cap exception that we need to do, we want to discuss it and talk about it, and not just throw them in there because it's low-hanging fruit because there's 15 students in there. Probably the most important one is continual department input for the master schedule. What do you see as your department's master schedule, as the master schedule that will fit and work for you? What will be the best case scenario for you? And during the summer, we'd like you to come out, not you guys, but the teachers from the departments, and take a look at the schedule and identify those students that have already had this course that accidentally got placed in there. Identify the students that didn't pass Math 1 but magically are in AFM or Math 2. So we can go ahead and take care of that before summer's over. Establish a clear leadership team separate from SIT. One thing that we'd like to do this year, certainly we have a very large leadership team / school improvement team. We'd like to focus a little bit more on the school improvement side of it with the team that's dedicated to that school improvement process, and a leadership team that talks about all the other issues at the school that you can think of, homecoming and graduation and things like that are not necessarily on that school improvement process, but are certainly important for the school. We have a Bright Future Site Council, very good. One of the things that we're doing this year is we want to track more of the usage of that, not just that it's not just important to have it in place. We want to make sure that we're tracking the usage. If it's not being used much, then what can we do at Washington High School to market it a little bit better and keeping it as a discrete marketing, but to market it nonetheless so that we get more folks taking advantage of that. Thanks. We have and I've said this a lot since I've come into Washington, we have a very strong community at Washington, which I'm sure all the schools in Beaufort County do. But that being said, there's always a part of the community that needs to be brought in a little bit closer, that needs to be communicated with on more issues. We certainly have folks that are integrated at every level and have been for many years, but we'd like to get some of our other folks incorporated as well and really put it one team for everybody. I'll talk about the graduation coach at another time, but it was just a thought that maybe we could put a graduation coach in place even for the 3 high schools, just have someone that is dedicated to looking at just senior schedules, grades, absences of seniority issues, and could be a liaison to the parents and also to administration. And maybe one person that could float between the 3 high schools. That may be a lot to bite off for one person, but if funding was an issue, maybe that would be an easier way to do it. After-school transportation, as mentioned before, working on that 21st Century Grant, that's going to help us next year and put in place some transportation in the afternoon for our bus riding students especially. We have a very good connection with Beaufort County Community College. We've partnered with them. They want to bring their stuff face-to-face to us, so we've got 2 courses coming face-to-face next semester, and of course next year we want to continue that and have 2 courses each semester coming out face-to-face, and we'll put those kids in there right at the school. Teacher retention, just like everywhere, it's hard to find science, math, and EC teachers. So what can we do to improve that process? We got a lot of folks in the county, a lot of folks in Washington High School in particular, that have connections to ECU and other other places, and discussions. So we want to be proactive in saying, we'd like some interns out here. We would like to have, you guys put a focus on Beaufort County and have folks come over here and see all the good things we're doing. So again, the bottom line with all of this is communication, and not just communication as a Band-Aid, but a sustainable program throughout the year. So we have outstanding students, committed faculty members. So anyway, the bottom line with this is we have I really feel that Washington High School is strong. I feel like we can pull ourselves out of this D status with just a little bit of extra work on our part, a little bit more focus, not work necessarily. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. If there are any questions for me?
Questions, comments?
Just wanted to know, what's your first 2 months, what have you seen as your biggest challenge so far?
Biggest challenge so far? Well, being the new guy on the block, getting to know the teachers. Who are the go-to people? Who are the folks that drive the wheel? Who are the folks that are kind of new that I just didn't recognize was new? That's probably been not the biggest challenge, but the biggest workload piece for me, coming from a school where I knew everybody and knew who the go-to folks were.
Thank you. Looks like
Yes, sir.
Good job.
No, you got your hands full, so
Yeah.
Thank you. for
we're here to
what you do.
help whenever we can.
All right. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Stay right there. Yes, actually, that carries us to the next item, which is an action item, so I think you're right back with us for that one. And
Great.
That's the Washington Wrestling mats.
Yeah, we just wanted we've got the new field house that's been built, and we've got an excellent opportunity now to put our wrestling folks in the upstairs area where the locker room used to be for the football players. And what we've done is we've paid for a new wrestling mat in there through the boosters, and we've got mats around. And for safety reasons, and to make that a very nice room to work out in for the wrestling team, we're looking to line the walls, with safety padding. This safety padding is, I was talking earlier, talking to Mr. Williams about, I didn't have an exact quote, but when I came in, but I did have about $3,500 is what we're looking at, give or take a little bit. And without an exact quote, it might be a little bit more, but it might be a little bit less that we were looking at to hope to maybe get from Beaufort County, help us with expand the room.
This was an item he's talked about, and it was actually going to be listed as a non-action item.
Yes,
but
sir.
at the last minute, and talking to Don in different ones, we decided could we put it in here. And the reason for that, the season is 2 weeks from being upon us. And by the time we get back again, well, everything will be started. So what we wanted the board to consider was, and the money's there in our fund balance, was to consider approving $5,000 or less for them to go out and seek what the prices are. If they go beyond that, they have to come back to us. But we're thinking around 35, but I don't want them to have it 3,600 and have to come back and delay past the season starting.
And you did say we had the money.
The money's in the fund balance.
Move approval on your recommendation.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Good enough?
They did it down there.
Got a second? So we're looking at the 5,000 figure or less.
Well, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
In the field house funding, didn't we have a little money left over?
Actually, I asked that question, but I didn't think I ever got a positive, did I get a positive answer on that?
Well, then we'll wait for all the final pieces to come out to get an exact idea.
But we did have a little.
There was, and I don't remember the exact number, but we didn't go over, right.
Right, we weren't over, but I'm still waiting on that figure too.
There's one less challenge.
One last challenge.
There you go.
Mr. Swinson, is the turnaround time on bringing those in, this is my discussion part for, but fairly quick?
I think so, but to be honest with you, we didn't really discuss the logistics of the timeline.
And see if you could get them.
But if we go ahead and approve it tonight, you'll be able to jump on it tomorrow and have your AD or whoever to go ahead and start looking
Yes,
into
sir, I'll
that.
text him right after the meeting.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed to that? Okay, over 5, call us back.
All right. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
And budget resolution.
Ask Ricky Lopes to come up to the podium, if you would. But we have this as an action item. With Ricky and folks that are working with him, have come in and helped us over the last 3 or 4 weeks to put together what we need to have for our budget. And we don't have the line-by-line details. We can have that for you this week, so you can take a look at it. But take a look down on the local current expense fund. We know we were given in terms of allotment from the county commissioners, and then the fines and forfeitures and any allocation of our fund balance is put together there to give you that number. So we had a document to work with. I shared that with Ricky. They kind of worked in reverse in terms of what we were looking at with the 10% across-the-board cuts and the teaching positions, central service positions that were cut, and they were able to cobble together the budget for us. And we have to go through this process to approve the resolution and then move on. But we want to give you the details in the days to come, but we need to get through this tonight if we could. And Ricky's here. I wanted him to share with you anything he wanted to share based on his work with us, but then also give you an opportunity to ask questions, and then we can have another opportunity when we meet in November after we've had a chance to go through the line items if there are any other questions that come up.
Thank you. My name is Ricky Lopes. I'm a retired finance officer for almost 31 years in Cumberland County, which is familiar to your superintendent. We both grew up in Cumberland County. But I'm with School Efficiency Consultants, and it's a group of retired finance officers that work on finance issues across the state as needed. And we're here, I guess, about 3 weeks now, and trying to get a budget document ready for you. Being in October, you need a budget. You know, the school year's almost, first 9 weeks is almost up, and you needed a budget. So we've been working with your staff, and Mark's been our primary contact, and you've got a great staff here. We've really enjoyed working here. They're ready to learn. They've had a few challenges, obviously, in the last few months, but they've stepped up to the plate, and we were able to get a lot done to meet this deadline of giving you a budget tonight. Just want to highlight a couple things in your budget, just generically, just for your information. One being that one of the issues that you face is that your low wealth money at one time was almost $1.6 million. This year it's all the way down to $192,000. And so you've lost over $1.3 million per year in the last 5 years in low wealth money. And so roughly what we say is $1 million is 20 teachers. Okay, so 1.3 is 26 teachers. And listening tonight, it's kind of, I've been retired for right at a year now, and so this is the first board meeting I've been in over a year, but it was just enjoyed listening to the presentations from the principals and also the kids getting their awards tonight. But anyway, the 26 teachers means a lot. And so basically you've lost that state funding, and also your ADM is going down. And so as you're losing teachers because of state funding, you're also losing teachers because the state formula takes away teachers when your funding goes down, which leads to another big issue, charter schools. One of the big items we had to add this week into your budget was almost a $200,000 increase in the charter school payment. So it's going to be right at $783,000 this year. And so once again, it's a challenge. Yes, you're getting more money from the county commissioners or in your current expense fund, but you're also having to share that with the charter schools. So that's almost $200,000 that would have covered 4 additional teachers, but having to take that off the top to send to the charter schools. If you don't mind, I'd like to talk to you for a second about fund balance, just my philosophy on fund balance and just how I think you should have a fund balance. This past year, your audit hasn't been done yet, but just based on your preliminary data, it looks like you spent over $1 million of your fund balance. You would not have been able to do that in 16-17 because you didn't have $1 million left in your fund balance. Okay, so right away you were facing a deficit situation, and so my philosophy is that you need a fund balance for cash flow purposes and also to cover unforeseen emergencies, whether it be from the state agencies, federal agencies, whether it be a local issue where your utility bills go up or something comes up where you have to, replace a roof, you have to do something that you didn't expect at the last minute. And so that being said, your fund balance to me is not at the level where it needs to be. And so hopefully, I think the next time we're going to be back over the next few weeks, we're going to be able to transfer some local expenditures to state expenditures through some things that we do, which is we come in and look at the best way to spend dollars to move them to either state or federal funding. And I think you'll be pleased when we get finished that you're able to save a few local dollars by moving some things around. And that being said, you won't have to use your fund balance. You'll notice on your budget resolution tonight that it has fund balance appropriated. I think when we get finished, that's going to get down to 0. Okay, but just right now, just to get the budget done, just to use some estimated figures, well, we had to balance it against the fund balance. But I think in the next month or so, whenever Don wants us to come back, I think you'll see that you will not have to use your fund balance to balance your local budget this year. but we don't have all the specifics yet. We're hoping to have all the details, and we got probably about 90% finished, but we don't want to bring any detailed information to you until we had it all put together. But I think you're headed in the right direction as far as the fund balance. But those are just a couple of things that I just wanted to bring to your attention just through our preliminary work as far as the budget was concerned.
Okay. Can we ask any questions at this point?
What's the action that we're,
Well, we're going to need to get this approved if that's what you decide to do, and then they'll come back with the line by line and give us later. I have a question on the capital outlay. I normally understand capital outlay, but I don't understand these figures. When I look at revenue, under the revenue portion of this on capital outlay, I show the school bus county appropriation at 937, which I was thinking it was 990, might be some difference there. What is this fund balance appropriated for a total capital outlay of $2.4 million? I don't get that.
What happens, the preliminary numbers that we had didn't get us to the 990 yet, and we didn't have enough time to find out what was going to make up that total 990. That's one of the revisions we'll have to make when we come back. But you are correct, the county appropriation is 990. Right. And so when we come back and get more detail, we'll increase that capital outlay budget to get you to the full 990. And the fund balance is a little bit of a misnomer. What that is capital outlay projects that were funded last year but not completed at June 30th. And so that money carries over, but it runs through your fund balance. And so it's not that you have a lot of new money sitting out there. You really don't.
I already knew that. The main thing I want everybody to understand is that we do not have a capital outlay approved of $2.4 million.
No, you don't.
I know that. I wanted to make sure how I was reading here.
Yeah, you're correct.
I'd like to know we had that much. But I knew we did. So that'll all be back down after we get to the
Yes, sir. If I had to estimate, I'd say your capital outlay was probably only a few $100,000 of actual fund balance.
My understanding was from $300,000 to $400,000.
And I think just on our preliminary study, that'd be a good estimate, a good number.
I got you. And you'll be back with us with the line by line, Don?
Yes.
Okay. But this is what. But we need a budget approved. I understand. I understand that. Did any of that make sense to anybody, what I'm saying? Okay. Any other questions? If not, what's your pleasure?
make a motion that we approve the budget resolution with the further lines to come.
Gotcha.
Second.
Okay, any last questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Thank you.
I want to stress too, Terry,
yes,
that, you know, as Ricky talked about the reliance on fund balance and our inability to be able to continue to do that, that's what we've been preaching for the last couple of budget cycles that we've gone through, and that's why we had to make the deep cuts that we made on the personnel side to get us to a point this year where we don't have to dip into that. So, you know, that's what our planning was for, and we see that happening now.
we knew where we were at. We knew where we were headed with that. But thank you for your work.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm reading approval for a student-led project at Northside High School. Mr. Clark.
You already have the handouts? The handout?
No attachments or on here either.
All right. This should be short and sweet because that's how I like it.
Okay. That's what we like.
We had two young men that were graduates of Northside, former graduates of Northside, and they gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country over in Afghanistan and Iraq. Joel Taylor and Jonathan Kirk, both fine young men. And one of our ROTC senior cadets has come up with the idea of creating a kind of a memorial to those two students in the front of our campus. And you see the diagram. We've already talked to Mr. Hudson about it, and there's no issues as far as landscaping or anything like that. So I guess I'm just asking for your approval to proceed with this project. Again, if you look at it, it'll be kind of right in front of the library. So if you're if you're familiar with our campus, it'll be kind of what I call center campus, right in front of the library, so people can, you know, look at it and acknowledge that those two young men, you know, did make that ultimate sacrifice. So,
right off where you walk into school at.
Yes, sir. On the right-hand side.
Right.
As you're walking up that canopy. Yes, sir.
Everything good, Sam? Yes, sir. Okay. I think it's a great idea. Anybody got any comments? Second. Okay, that was quick and easy. Any questions? I take it there's not.
Do you have the funding and the materials?
Yes, she's doing all the fundraising herself as part of her senior project. So she's working very diligently to fund this project completely on her own. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Thanks, Charlie.
I want to invite y'all to Cool School Friday morning, 5 o'clock.
Can we just watch? Yeah, can I come to the 8 o'clock version?
Can we just, does he want us to watch it on TV?
We'll come to the concert.
You have donuts? What's up?
And sticky buns and cheese biscuits.
Jesus.
It's still going to take more than that to get me there at 5 o'clock. Okay, Mr. Hudson, you're up. Capital updates.
Especially if my TV still works, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna be there.
We'll watch it on TV till it's time for the concert.
Each year.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I have one item that y'all previously approved, was the purchase of uniforms for the custodial and maintenance staff. When I was trying to do the finalized information to lock down a quote, or lock down the PO and stuff from the uniform company, they offered us the existing uniforms that our employees are currently wearing for $13,101.49 plus tax, which came in this afternoon. I did not know about that, but he threw it on me at the last minute. And this is, y'all previously approved $34,000, but this would be a $13,000, or roughly $16,000 savings to the county if we do use the existing uniforms. The uniforms that we have in place, a couple of employees need a new shirt here or there. So what I'd like to ask is for an additional $5,000 if you approve me to go back with this 13 for nutrition and replacement of uniforms and repairs and this type of thing, if y'all see it that way.
So instead of the 34, it's going to be
18.
101.49 plus the tax.
Let's give it 20.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you're asking us to do is take roughly a 20,000 and replace a 34,000.
Correct. Another savings to help us along a little bit more, and our uniforms are in fairly good shape. I did a poll with everybody.
And the 5,000 will cover the ones that.
That's it, and we've got a couple employees that will be leaving, and we got one that's out, sick, and we have to have some other uniforms in place. So we figured that would cover our costs, more than cover our costs and what we spend in repairs and replacement each year. We look back what we spent in the previous years, and that's a little more than what we've spent in previous, so we were just giving us a little cushion.
Right.
We're going to have such a great savings.
Yeah, if everybody's good with that, I can hear.
Yeah.
You get that down, Lisa?
Yeah.
I think it came from my right.
Butch and I did, so give it to Butch.
Okay.
I've already seconded something.
Okay, we got a motion. I didn't know we were keeping it. I guess we're on a quote. I didn't know we were on a quote. I didn't know that.
No, we're not, I just said,
So we have
he
a
said it,
motion
so.
and a second to replace the 34,000 with the 20 or less thousand.
Correct.
All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed to that?
Have to stand.
Now we're going to move on to,
Stay right
if I can
there.
get out of here, I got another item on there for you. It says capital, okay. Did you have anything you need to say?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
No questions?
The next one is our 16-17 capital list. And I was just wondering, I know that you've got some bids maybe going out. Where do we stand on any of these projects? That's all.
I should have all the safety and security fence ones ready to turn over to Miss Lisa tomorrow, if she can put those out. The wall ones I hope to have by Friday, or Thursday, excuse me. And then we are currently working on getting our POs and stuff set up, getting the budget money set over to purchase the smaller items that's under the 5,000 to get those out of the way. So just as soon as finance gets my money moved over.
That was going to be my question for the two. I know what we were waiting on. We've got a lot of work going on down the hall. Are we getting to where they can start this stuff here?
Should be.
Okay, then.
I hope to have it by the end of the week is what we were talking earlier.
And I already
so.
spoke to you about it.
Right, yes, sir, and I spoke to Mr. Dunn after that.
Yes, knows what I had said to him, was these items where he's just looking to purchase, whether it's a buffer or, just an outright purchase. I'm going to call it the easy ones.
Those overhanging fruits.
Yeah, right. Go through these before we get back together again and get all those ready to go out, and
I'll present them all at one time next board meeting. I hope we can have it all finalized and we'll get all of those out at one time.
Yep. Because I keep saying 123,000 outside of outside of technology and safety is not much to spend. but we got to start somewhere.
And I had a question in regards to this, like the Central Services fuel pump replacement on it. There's only one company in the state of North Carolina that offers the system that we have. So do we have to send it out RFP for it, or is it something we purchase? So
55. Is that one 55? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Central Services, let's see, transportation, excuse me. Fuel management systems, 13,500.
Oh, you're looking at that one.
Yes. There's only one company in the state, and that's who we got our budget number from, that we did it, but they're the only company that if we put RFP out, they're the only company that can bid on it. So do we have to go through that process?
I think we make an exception.
Just bring it back, but y'all would
I would just, my thought would be just bring it back to us, because we've been through it before and nobody's going to bid on it.
Right, there's only low board, and unless we totally change fuel systems, which is going to be an astronomical price, there's only one manufacturer that makes the software for the existing fuel system, so there's only one representative in the state of North Carolina. So.
And just so you know, too, I know y'all have, and it's a good habit to have, but you have a habit of bringing them all back to us because we ask you to do that. But when you look at the one like Central Services Building 4 sewer pump, that 55 is an estimate. If that comes back in under 5, you and Don can go ahead and move forward with that to save time from bringing all of it back to us. It's fine when you come back to us to make us aware of it. Okay. But you don't have to bring it all back.
And another question would be like our bathroom here, the Central Service bathroom, we're going to be doing it in-house. So we'll be basically just purchasing materials, and we're doing it in-house. So do I have to bring that project back, or just proceed and?
It's over 5.
Okay, understood.
But other than that, no, you and Don can just handle that. But just bring it back and let us know what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
But if that'll speed up the process.
It definitely will.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And plus, we come in here often enough, we'll see what you're doing now.
Any other?
No, I will.
That's all I wanted to know. I just wanted to see where we're at. And just to advise you, if you could, just get these easy ones on out of the way and let's move on this stuff.
And I'd also like to invite y'all out, Beaufort County Developmental Center and the ARC and Eastern Antique Power is putting on a special needs day for our EC kids and special needs folks of the county, and that's Saturday from 10 to 2 over at Chocowinity at my place.
Oh, is it this Saturday?
It's this Saturday. We delayed it from last Saturday because of the weather and the water. They thought it would be better because part of the kids were affected by it. So last year we had about 320 some kids out, or special needs folks, exceptional needs folks, let's put it that way. So any of y'all that would like to come out and help us, and Dr. Phipps came last year and helped us, and it was a great help. It's great. Makes you feel good when the day's over. Those folks really appreciate it.
Last year. I was surprised how many people were there.
Right. Love to have y'all.
Thanks, Dan.
I'll try and make it this year.
Calendar, Don.
I want to try to explain this, articulate what we're up against to help you try to understand what we're trying to do. And Mark, please help me if I get off course anywhere. On October the 7th, I received a call about 5:10 a.m. From John Pack, Emergency Management Office, and he had been in contact with the National Weather Service, and they were concerned about flooding in Aurora and Belhaven. And what I was told at 5 o'clock was that we might get the buses on the road, but there were some concerns about whether we get the buses home. And that's not a situation that I want to be in. With that information, didn't have anything to do at that point with the hurricane, we decided to not have school for students, and we had an optional teacher work day. And you may wonder why we do optional teacher work days, and this all comes kind of to a full circle when we talk about what we're having to do. One of the mandates, requirements that we have when we build a school calendar is that we have to have 215 paid days for teachers. So if we didn't have an optional work day, and a good example is the next Monday, the Monday after the hurricane, when we had no power anywhere, there was no point in making that an optional work day, because if people had been able to report to work, they wouldn't have been able to do any work. So we had no school that day for staff and students on October the 10th. That was on a Monday. Because we had no students, the folks have to make that time up, and 12-month employees have to come up with and make that time up as well. So when we're looking at October the 7th, we have to make up the instructional time, but not the teacher time, because it was an optional work day. Teachers could either take leave or they could come in and work. On the 10th, there was no option for teachers to come in, so that day we're going to talk about specifically. And we also have student time that has to be made up. On the 11th and 12th of October, we made those optional teacher work days as well. And I want to stress that when we do that, we always tell principals and supervisors, only want individuals to report if it's safe to do so. If you've got high water in your yard, if your road's covered in ice or whatever, we're not asking anyone to risk injury or any other kind of safety issues. We only want you to report if it's safe to do so. So we have 3 days that we've got to make up instructional time on, and we have 1 day that we have to make up instructional time, and we've got to find a new spot in the calendar for that day because we didn't have school for teachers or students on October the 10th. And this is what our plan is. We met last week with principals and got feedback from curriculum as well, and then we had some opportunities with a group that was in Ed Tech's in a meeting room on Monday for me to ask some questions to as well. But October the 7th, which we have to make up the student time, we feel like we made that up on October the 14th, which was last Friday, which was originally a teacher work day. We made it a student day, so we took care of October the 7th on October the 14th. October the 10th is a work day that has to be added back into the calendar to ensure that we hit the 215 pay days for teachers. To make this happen, what we'd like to do is make October the 10th an annual leave day, which means everybody gets paid for that day. And when we currently have an annual leave day on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we wanted to make that a regular school day. So the folks that didn't work, that didn't come in on the 10th, would be the same thing as what they would have done on November the 23rd, which is the day before the Thanksgiving break. The only other option with that, if we don't do it, is to probably add a Saturday day to school. The other thing that the annual leave allows us to do, if we swap the annual leave day with the day we missed in October, we don't have to add another pay day at the end of the year. So we're able to maintain what we've got. October the 11th, which was a regular school day but a teacher work day, the instructional time that we missed on the 11th would be made up by extending 2 previously early release days, which would be November the 1st and November the 20th. We make those full days and we're able to capture those hours. And again, what we're looking at is we have to have a minimum of 1,025 instructional hours or 185 days. So we're going back and looking at those instructional hours.
That's December the 20th.
Yeah, you said November 20th, that's the same.
December the 20th, which will be the day right before we have the Christmas break. That was scheduled as early release. It would now be a full day. And November the 1st was early release. It will be a full day. So we're not adding additional days. What we're doing is capturing those hours. And then October the 12th was an instructional day. We felt like we can put that into our spreadsheet that we have, and we build in some time above the 1,025 minimum, so we feel like we can eat those hours. What we're trying not to do is we don't want to push anything beyond Christmas because we have no idea what we're going to be dealing with in the winter. And if we try to use up those days in the winter and in the spring, we may find ourselves in a really bad situation when we roll into February, March, and April, or January, February, March. So that would be the proposal. The group that was in the meeting on Monday, I asked them if they would prefer, with a show of hands, would you rather go to school on a Saturday or would you rather go to school on that Wednesday before Thanksgiving? And it was a 50-50 split. I mean, it really was. And I've got a feeling you're going to find that as well. Attendance is always a concern. Saturday school attendance is always a problem.
Right.
The Wednesday before Thanksgiving may be an issue as well, but we count those as student hours and we would encourage folks to come. And I'd like to propose that we do a 2-hour early release that day, so we at least give that benefit to families that want to travel out of town for Thanksgiving. So that would be the proposal, to capture the hours that were lost. There's been some discussion that the General Assembly may present a proposal to waive days, but I think if that happens, and there's nothing in place right now, it would be for the counties that are more heavily hit than Beaufort was. And I'm glad we're not in that situation because of the damage that would be involved in, and we certainly have those other districts in our thoughts and prayers. Some of them are not even back in school yet right now. So.
But if that were to happen, Dr. Phipps, would we still apply to be considered for that?
We would.
Because we had so many teachers that were impacted that lived in Pitt County.
There were, and we would come back to you with an adjustment to the calendar if we needed to do that. But we have to go ahead and get something out there for folks to be aware and start to work toward. And then if we have that opportunity for a waiver, we'll certainly go for it and see what we can do.
I'll move approval.
Second. That was just as clear as mud. Actually, that word's already out at the school. You already know that, right?
No, we don't.
Of course you do. It's Beaufort County.
Yeah.
And so, and nobody's complaining about it, so I think it must be okay.
Oh, that's
playing
good.
that. Any last minute discussion? Well, there may be some complaining.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they didn't complain to me.
Yeah.
Any last minute questions on that?
They don't want to go with
If not, I got a motion and a second.
Plans.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
No.
And that carries us to policy updates, my favorite always.
Yeah, and there are 3 that are here that deal with facility construction and contracts that are related to one another. It falls under a session law for General Statute 115C 521. And we've addressed this with what our board has had Stan and myself dealing with a $5,000 cap, comes in well below what the changes were that were indicated here with change orders. So we've been following this for quite some time, but the policies are just updated and we have everything in sync with what the general statute requires us to do. So these are just for your approval.
Right, we've already seen this stuff. Any other ones other than those few little things? Yeah, I didn't see anything different or wrong with that. Did anybody else?
Move approval.
All right. Second. Got a motion and a second. Last minute questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed to that? Okay, thank you. And that carries us to closed session.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115C-321.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor say aye. Aye. We're in closed session, folks. Okay, we're back in open session, and the first order of business is to approve the personnel agenda and salary adjustments as we just discussed.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you. Calendar for November, December.
I think we hammered this out for the most part at our last meeting, but just want to go over this to make sure we're all on the same page. We have 2 November board meetings. The first meeting is November the 1st at 5 o'clock. That's our work session. And then we move the other to November the 21st. That will be our monthly meeting for the month of November at 5:30. And then we have that additional meeting for the 10 principals that we didn't hear from tonight will come in and do their school improvement presentations. And then we're going to get those down on the 28th. And then we do the one meeting in December, which will be the 13th. And note, the start time is 4 o'clock, and we'll have dinner to follow as we normally do.
Okay. Anybody talk about that? I mean,
the annual School Board Association.
6th. Now, as I understand it, we are to be there Tuesday night, Wednesday night. No, is that right? Yeah, Tuesday night because it starts Wednesday morning. Okay, and you've gotten me down for 2 nights. Remember, I told you I'd leave Thursday afternoon. Okay. Do you need to ask anybody else? You mentioned something about that today.
You got me.
Are you good with everybody else?
Got me?
Got you.
Okay. And
This is
they're
one of
guaranteed
the
late
Greensboro.
arrivals because if you guys get together Tuesday night for a dinner on your own, I'll be there fairly late after work. Okay. Any board member updates?
Well, Mr. Clark mentioned it earlier, but Northside High School was nominated for the Cool Schools Award, and WITN and I guess Bob 93.3 will be there Friday morning, so if y'all watch on the news. Also like to ask everybody just to pray for Coach Mike Proctor at Northside. He's been in the hospital since the weekend, I think.
Who is this?
Coach Mike Proctor, basketball coach. He's suffered a stroke and is also having some other complications going on, and still in the hospital, so just keep him in your prayers.
Okay. I'd just like to say, I know it's a difficult job, and I want to say to Don, thanks for all the hard work he done during Hurricane, was it Matthew? Because I know it's a hard call deciding we're going to have school or not. I think he did an excellent job, especially in communicating to us, because I'm still, on the forecast I received, I'm still waiting for it to take that due east turn that they said it was going to turn. Yeah. The only turn I saw it move was down Elks Road where I live, but other than that, I don't think it ever turned.
Yeah, so it was good to see him bright and early Saturday morning at the EOC.
Yep. Yeah. So I think you did a great job. I mean, how do you decide sometimes? So,
What's in the best interest of the students and folks that are on the roads.
Well, thanks a lot.
Does anybody know if I'm going to be able to get to Interstate 95?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
On 64, 264? And it's because 64, they detoured me around.
Okay.
They tried to send me to Scotland Neck before they let me get back to, and I just got turned around and came back.
Any superintendent updates?
Well, I want to follow up on what you just said. Just appreciate the patience of the public, regarding our school schedule with Hurricane Matthew. The call program that we use, we've gotten quite a bit of feedback from folks that said they didn't receive the call. And part of that issue, I think, is that when the call goes out of the call center from Los Angeles, the number may look like an odd number, and folks may not see that as a local call, and they dismiss it, but it's because it's coming out of that call center, and depending on where we originate the call from. So we want to make sure that you pick that up or you at least listen to the answering machine. The other thing I wanted to mention, we're trying to put back together our ministerial advisory council. And what I'd like to ask those that are watching, if you're a minister, or if you would share the information with your minister, we want to reconvene that group. And we're at this point trying to update our contact information. And you can contact us at 946-6593. That's the Central Services phone number, 946-6593. And we hope to have a web page that's set up that allows folks to go in and put that in by the end of next week. So we're trying to update that pastor minister information so that we can work with them. And then finally, the Ag Expo, scheduled November the 3rd, Bob Martin Center. We have 12 counties, Mac, involved. We may have 1,500 students or more that are going to be there. I just want to thank Farm Bureau in Beaufort County, particularly Mac Hodges, Steve Griffin, Lisa Duke, Wendy Pettaway, Sarah Hodges Stalls, just for the work that we've had to put in and the work that's been done of trying to secure sponsors, to try to get T-shirts printed, to try to take care of all the money that has to change hands and all the sponsors that are involved. It's a great event, but there's a great deal of work that goes on behind the scenes, and we're excited that we've almost got this on the calendar in front of us, so we're looking forward to it and invite you all to come out and see what's going on.
I wanted to add something real quick. Now that the hurricane has come and gone and Beaufort County is going to get back to normal a lot quicker than some of our neighboring counties, but I want to remind the community that there were schools and churches and homes that lost everything. And so it's easy to kind of forget that when your life gets back to normal. So I'm going to ask the public out there, if your church or your civic organization or your neighbor or your child's school is having any kind of drive, whether it be for food, money, clothing, medical supplies, to do your best to dig deep and participate, because 2 or 3 weeks down the road, we'll be on to the next thing. These people will still be dealing with the fact that they lost everything they had. So just want to be in prayer for those families.
Good point. Anything else? If not,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.